G'day guys, Aaron Crushler here from Eastern Barbell Strength & Co. In today's video, this is the second video in a two-part series. We're going to be looking at the upper cross syndrome. So earlier in the other video, we went over the lower cross syndrome and the problems and symptoms associated with that. So in today's video, we're going to look at the upper half of the body, so the upper cross syndrome. So basically, just to recap, for those that might not have seen the first video, the upper and lower cross syndrome are basically a combination of a whole bunch of ideas put together by Dr. Vladimir Janda. And it basically gives us a system to work with for muscular imbalances throughout our body and how to correct those and overcome them. So basically what we're talking about today in this video is the upper cross syndrome, which is also known as kyphosis. So if you get that round shouldered look, where everything is pulling forward and you know, for those people that are sitting at a desk all day, we tend to end up in this extended poked head sort of posture. So exaggerating a little bit, we have the poked head forward and the round shouldered posture going on. So some concerns with this, if we have a look, problems associated with that, it limits the range of motion in your shoulders. So people who suffer from this quite extensively really struggle to get their shoulders to extend fully and get their arms nice and high above their head. So they struggle with that due to tightness in the front of the body. They also have tightness in the neck. So you might have experienced this yourself if you've ever had a tight neck, particularly in the neck extensors, the back of the neck there and towards the back of your head, so just under your skull, and which can lead to things like headaches as well. So that's another sign of that as well. And then obviously the round shouldered look that's going on associated with that. So if we take a look at our diagram again, we've got this drawn up like we did in the video with the lower cross syndrome. Basically, as you can see, it follows this cross pattern once again. So where we've got weak muscles, we follow the cross and we get weak muscles opposing those. Tight muscles are paired with tight muscles. So some muscles that are tight and weak with the upper body this time, if we start over here, the deep neck flexors are weak, coupled with the weak rhomboids and serratus anterior. So those muscles are really designed to help us bring our shoulders back. So namely the rhomboids, they bring the two shoulder blades, the scapula together. They cause retraction of the scapula. So in people who are sitting a lot, basically we're in this position all the time, those muscles become stretched and elongated over time and weak. So they allow for this posture, whereas the muscles in the front of the body become overly tight. They're in a shortened position, so they grow tight over time. The tight muscles here, as I've just mentioned there, tight pectoralis latissimus dorsi, so the big muscles of the back actually insert just into the humerus, so the upper arm bone, and they basically also cause internal rotation of the shoulder. Okay, so they're contributing to that round shouldered look. If we go to the back here, so the trapezius and the levator scapula. So levator scapula is basically, it elevates your scapula. So those muscles become overly tight because again, we're in this sort of posture. As you can see, my shoulders are rising. If you sort of find yourself sitting down in that position, it's a very unfavorable position and it does lead to these sorts of things. So touching on with how to remedy this, so much like we said in the first video, we've basically got to try and reverse what's going on here, okay? So we've got to stretch tight muscles often. So the ones that are tight, so pectoralis major and latissimus dorsi, so we should be stretching those routinely. Things like your external rotation against the pole or the wall is a really, really good one. So we just have our arm up like so, 90 degrees in our elbow as well, and we're basically applying pressure the opposite way. So we're twisting against is a really, really good one for the chest. For the lats as well, anywhere where you're sort of hanging, you can grab hold of a chin-up bar and you can just let gravity do the work and you stretch out all down the lats as well. If we jump over to the trapezius and the levator scapula, a little bit more tricky to stretch out, but there are ways of doing it. So one of the really, really quick ways for your traps is to stretch them out. So if you grab hold of a bench or a table with one hand and you hold onto it and the other hand comes over and we basically just lean across while we're holding on and you'll feel a stretch all through here in these muscles. So that's going to stretch out your upper trapezius and the levator scapula as well. So those stretches are really, really good to alleviate the tight muscles. With the ones that are weaker, we need to be strengthening those up, and basically a good rule of thumb with this is a 1 to 2 push to pull ratio. So in your program, make sure that for every pushing motion you're doing 2 pulling motions. And with your pulling motions, you really want to emphasize bringing those 2 scapula together as much as you can. So scapular retraction, so pulling back the shoulder blades together. And you want to take notice of when you're sitting, so your posture when you're sitting down, so don't let yourself fall into this round-shouldered, poked head sort of posture. We want to be sitting up nice and tall. So whenever you catch yourself doing that, make sure you sit back, pull your shoulders back, bring your head back, maybe even get up and have a bit of a stretch is probably the best thing to do. And just, really, really take notice of when you're sitting as well. So hopefully that helped you out some more, and much like the first video, I hope this has all really, really helped. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave some comments down below or send us a message on our Facebook page. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.